Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Do we have enough money in the state coffers from taxes? Plus, Northern Nevada's best-kept secret. Up first on today's program, Perry Comeaux. He's the state budget director. He'll tell us how much money's in the bank and how much we can expect to collect this year. Plus, John Doherty. He's with the Desert Research Institute, perhaps one of our best-kept secrets. And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Daryl, Capurro, Jason Geddes, and Martha Gould. It's all coming up next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Catch a straight, dine at 8. Lucky you. Lucky you. Dance till 1. Have some fun. Lucky you. Lucky you. Taste the shrimp. Have a sip. Try the pool. Play it cool. At the Sienna Hotel Spa Casino. Lucky you.
In business, the key to success is not the quantity of your clients, it's the quality of your clients. Almost all companies will tell you they want more sales, but what they really need are quality customers who pay their bills on time. With Employer Link's client vendor screening program, we provide comprehensive reports regarding the financial performance of your corporate prospects, customers, and vendors. Build your business with great clients and vendors. Call Employer Links today at 883-3733.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by Perry Comeaux, who has the job of State Budget Director. We have lots of questions for you. Welcome, Perry.
Actually, his exact title is Executive Director of the Department of Administration, but nobody knows
to make
what
it
that
simple.
means. So, yeah, right. So, but I wanted to accord him that. Last week, Perry, a member of the KRNV News staff, Dan Bateman, tripped over this interesting little fact from the National Conference of State Legislatures and developed a story. And essentially, we and Alabama are two states where they're projecting that at the end of this year, in our budget, we will have a surplus of approximately $133 million. Is that what you're seeing as far as and I know you're not the tax director, you don't collect the taxes, but you administer the budget. Is this what you're seeing as far as how our money's coming in?
Well, first of all, let me clarify that $133 million is our budgeted ending fund balance at the end of this fiscal year for the general fund. That represents a little under 6% of our total expenditures for the year, and we shoot for, on a routine basis, an ending fund balance of no less than 5% and no more than 10%. So that's the number that the legislatively approved budget would provide for at the end of the year. And to answer your question, so far so good. As you know, the legislature approved a tax package that for this biennium is supposed to generate about $820 million in revenue. $600 million of that is from brand new tax sources, and we've not seen the results of the collection on any of those taxes just yet. We should get the results on the biggest revenue producer of those new taxes, which is the modified business tax. That should come out just any day. But the live entertainment tax, for example, just went into effect in January. We really won't know how that's going to do for quite a while. And even with the modified business tax, we'll just have the first quarter's worth of collections to look at, which really won't it make me comfortable with how they're coming in. But through the end of December, our existing revenues have come in about $32 million higher than we forecast. That's mainly sales tax. Gaming taxes, we're doing very well through the end of December. But to tell you how quickly that can change, the January collections for the gaming tax actually were about 12 or 13 million less than they should have been. So we were at 33 million above our revenue estimates through the end of December. With what happened in gaming, we're now at about 20. But we should get our sales tax information towards the end of the month, and hopefully it'll still be strong.
Perry, as far as those gaming numbers go, now is this based upon a gross tax, or is this the casinos just had a bad month by comparison?
Actually, there's some strange technical issues involved in the gaming thing. The day that the Super Bowl falls on, which this year was February 1st instead of in January, the Chinese New Year, all of that has an effect. So it really, until we see their February numbers, we won't know if they really had a bad month in January or not.
Bottom line is, for the public, is that don't get excited over month-to-month numbers. Look at the bigger picture.
Yeah. Bottom line is, so far so good. It looks really good, but and hopefully it'll stay that way. But it's much too early to start celebrating.
What about cuts in state government? I know that the governor said he's not going to raise any new taxes next time, and if anything, we'll do cuts. Is your department busy looking at those cuts already?
We are, just as part of our planning process. We always do that. It's nice to expect good things to happen, but it'd be irresponsible not to plan for bad things. So yeah, we are looking at that, because there are lots of things that can happen to give us problems. Our revenues could head south on us. We could end up with a lot higher caseload growth in some of our really important areas, like K-12 education, university enrollments, Medicaid, caseloads, those kind of things that could pump our expenditures up. So we have to be prepared.
What about government waste? I've been frustrated lately in seeing a lot of people stealing money and silly lawsuits. That the lawsuits weren't silly, but what caused them was silly, and that's costing the state hundreds of thousands of dollars. Is there any way to sort of put an end to some of that?
Well, there is, and of course the governor initiated, just right after he got in office, a pretty comprehensive look at government to try and eliminate the waste that could be identified. Unfortunately, we're probably always going to have incidents like the silly lawsuits that you're talking about, because state employees are human beings. They make mistakes just like everybody else, and we close the barn door after the horses out, of course, on those things, and just try and when we spot a problem area, we try and improve our training in that area to prevent something like that from happening.
Perry,
in the
we're out of
future.
time, but basically I think the message you're sending us is we're looking at both sides of the issue to see if we need to react, but right now stay the course. Things are on target.
Correct.
Boy, I'm good, darn it. Yes. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Thank you.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at D'Andrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South D'Andrea Parkway in Sparks.
Allegra is Northern Nevada's #1 offset printing and digital copying facility.
From disc to destination, Allegra utilizes tomorrow's technology today. We specialize in booklets, catalogs, manuals, newsletters, stationery, and envelopes.
Xerox, Docutech, 4-color printing with Heidelberg Speedmaster, desktop publishing and design, graphic services, pickup and delivery.
If you need printing, Allegra can do it. From disc to destination.
To experience the royal cuisine of India, you need some serious magic or simply transport yourself to India Garden, right here in Reno, where you'll discover Indian specialties refined over centuries. Seekh kebab, tandoori dishes cooked in our own tandoor oven, biryani specialties, curries, fresh-baked Indian bread, over a dozen vegetarian dishes, even dishes rare to India like dosa, South Indian-style crepes. India Garden off South Virginia near Sports West. We are India.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
The last 31 years, with a couple of years off for good behavior, John Doherty has been the Public Information Officer for the Desert Research Institute, and it's a pleasure to have you here, John.
Thanks, Sam.
You know, a lot of people have no understanding of what the Institute is all about. Would you explain briefly?
Basically, we're a separate division of the University of Nevada, University and Community College System of Nevada. We do full-time environmental research. We don't do teaching as our basic mission. We work all over the world. Our main campuses are in Reno and Las Vegas, but our scientists are everywhere. We're essentially funded by the research grants and contracts. Out of about a roughly $35 million a year budget, about 85% comes from research grants and contracts, won competitively by our scientists. The other 15% comes from the state of Nevada for administrative costs, but for the most part, we have to operate like a business. Our scientists have to be entrepreneurial and go out there and get those grants.
They literally do, because their salary depends on them going out and getting contracts and bringing it back in. Let's talk about some of the different projects that you guys are involved in. For example, you are doing a lot of work in China. Would you name off some of the projects?
We're doing a lot of air quality work over there, looking at them. If you remember, I think the last time was 2001, we had a big dust cloud that came here from China. That's an example of the types of issues we're looking at. That's not just an air quality.
Gobi Desert thing.
The Gobi Desert and out of Mongolia, there's areas that are becoming more desertified up there, depending on how land use is, how the climate is changing. And so we're looking not just at the air quality aspects, but at the ecological problem underlying what is happening here. And also, another big part of it is we're working with the Chinese scientists in looking at the air quality problems in their major cities, because they've grown so fast. They're changing from a lot of older industries into newer industries, burning a lot of different kinds of fuels, and we've been working with them to come up with ways of monitoring this, come up with strategies to try and moderate it. They're facing the Olympics coming to town, and they're really trying to clean things up. They're sending us a lot of grad students to train to go back. This has been happening for about a decade, so there's an awful lot of work going on over there to try and clean up the air.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Hong Kong a few years ago, the pollution in Hong Kong became more extreme when the wind shifted and the wind started blowing down from China into Hong Kong. It was a pretty nasty soup there for a few days.
And not just Hong Kong, the surrounding countries as well.
True, but I was only there, so I mean, that was my complaint. Antarctica, what kind of research are you doing there?
The Antarctica is a very interesting place that we're discovering things that are going on down there that we had no idea. We're finding complete ecosystems existing in lakes that are covered with maybe 15 feet of snow. Now, snow and ice. This is interesting in itself, but the government has also asked us to look into the questions that might have some relevance to Mars. would the ecosystems we find on there be representative of the last kinds of life forms that may have existed on Mars? Or, given the amount of clues that there may actually be more water there than we assumed, are there still some of these kinds of ecosystems there? So we're looking very closely at these to find out, one, how can these ecosystems exist in such harsh environments, and two, what can they tell us, how can they tell us where to go look on Mars so we can better use the time that we have up there.
Okay, let's talk about Cairo. You've been involved over there as well.
Cairo is one of several large cities that we've been looking at and working with them to develop strategies for improving the air quality. We started with Mexico City, which is the largest city in the world, working with the Mexican government and U.S. agencies. And then we've moved to Cairo, had some very dramatic results over there working with the Egyptian government, essentially in reducing lead. Helping them to understand. We brought over a great number of Egyptian administrators and scientists and worked with them in setting up a strategic plan for this reducing lead and coming up with a way of getting a grip on the air quality. So what they're calling the major cities of the world, looking at these as major sources of air pollutants, not just locally, but stuff that gets into the wind and travels down. So we've worked in the U.S. for a long time, and now we're trying to take this to help some other areas to get a head start on the air quality problems.
You know, when we talk about growth in northern and southern Nevada, I always tell people semi-jokingly that before we run out of water, we're going to run out of air because of the particulate matter that ends up in the atmosphere because of the building and construction. Does DRI look at potential problems down the road, and how far down the road?
Well, we do, and in fact, looking back down the road, if you'll notice, the air quality has actually gotten much better here in the last 10 or 15 years, and we were involved to work with the county and the state in coming up with some new ways of analyzing when the best time was, or when were the worst times for the air quality, and out of that came some of the controls that helped to reduce the severe, the stage 3 alerts and things we were having. We've been looking now at more regional areas that include, say, northern Nevada or the larger areas that are bringing air into southern Nevada, and trying to determine, okay, how do we understand what the difference between what is our pollution, what is homegrown. Obviously, we're creating plenty of our own right here. We don't need to look for anybody else's.
And we also have a problem up in the mountains of acid rain being deposited from Southern California into the Sierra as well, which I know you guys were working on 20 years ago.
Right, and there is some problem with that as they improve the fuels and other control methods. That kind of starts to take care of itself. Of course, Lake Tahoe is another situation where they're looking at what the air pollutants will do as far as nutrients getting into the water, and that's another study.
Thank you so much for opening the door on what DRI is doing. We appreciate it. Great facility up there on the hill. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this timeout.
It's time for the 2004 Home and Garden Show.
And we invite you to come see us at Affordable Landscaping.
We create outdoor rooms with enchanting water gardens and graceful waterfalls.
At Affordable Landscaping, our designers will customize your yard to complement and enhance the beauty of your home. Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Bart. We're owners of Affordable Landscaping. We look forward to seeing you at the Home Show, March 26th through the 28th.
Just look for Rusty here. He looks a little like Bart.
The Aboud family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Your home is an expression of all things comforting and familiar. For custom storage, you can count on California Closets to provide quality, value, and design integrity. The process is easy, combining your personal style with our organizing expertise. We care about what matters most to you, making your home functional and beautiful. California Closets, simplifying home and life since 1978. Call today for your complimentary design consultation.
Join us for the uncorking of the 3rd Reno Tahoe Wine, Food, and Jazz Festival, April 30th through May 2nd at the Reno Hilton. Sample wines, cooking demonstrations, live jazz, and purchase fine art at festival days. Try dishes from the Reno Hilton's finest restaurants and taste wines from over a dozen wineries at the Grand Tasting. And at the exclusive Winemakers Reception and Art Auction, meet winemakers from Cakebread Cellars, Sequoia Grove, Benziger, and others. A fine wine festival that won't need to age to perfection. April 30th through May 2nd only at the Reno Hilton.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And we're joined by our Power Pundit panel today. Martha Gould is here, Daryl Capurro, and Jason Geddes. It's a pleasure to have all of you here. Ande will be back on the Pundit panel tomorrow, as usual. Wanted to start out here with an international issue. You've all heard, and as I'm sure the entire audience has heard, about the assassination of Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, the head of Hamas. How do you think that works for Middle East peace, or the lack of Middle East peace, and how does that work for the United States? Martha, you want to jump into that?
Well, first of all, violence begets violence. There's no question about it. When you have generations of young men and young women who are brought up believing in hate, how you stop that, I don't know. I don't think the assassination is going to do any good. And for that matter, I don't think that retaliation does any good. As I said, violence begets violence, and it's just going to continue until finally somebody on both sides says, hey, wait a minute, we're destroying our own people, we're destroying our own economy, and it has to stop.
Any disagreements here?
No, I fully agree with everything that Martha has said. I think it actually will harm the process. It's been going on, obviously, since about 6 months after I was last in Israel, and that it does no good for either side. The economies are deeply affected. It just seems to me that at some point in time, cooler heads, cooler nations, somebody has to step in to say enough is enough, and you've got to learn to live together.
If you go back to the history of what happened, it means you have to go back to the beginning of Israel in 1948. I hope it was 1948. And realize that the religious leaders of the Muslim communities actually told many of the Palestinians, leave, go. We will defeat the Israelis, and then you can come back and the country will be yours. I mean, that's a very simplistic sort of going over this history. Well, it didn't happen that way. And you had all of these Palestinians living in refugee camps. They weren't supported by the other Arab countries. They were left to live in squalor and poverty, and they grew up in hate.
Well, you know, one thing I want to point out, and I think Sheikh Yassin has been one of the most evil people in the history of the world in terms of what he has done in leading Hamas in the terrorist activities. But it's not a good image for a blind quadriplegic in a wheelchair to be blown up. I mean, shades of Leon Klinghoffer. Jason?
What he need, again, you try these people in an international court of law.
The only thing I would just disagree with is, I mean, it is a changed world. Since September 11th, the terrorists are after us, they're after Israel, and you have to fight them the only way you can, and that's going after them the way they go after us. And I believe in the internet. It does perpetuate, but you're not going to get a cessation of violence until the other agrees to come to the table and agree to the World Court. If we just go into the World Court and it's a one-sided appeal for peace, then they'll just keep attacking. And it is a bad image, but I think you had it coming.
Okay, let's change topics here.
Okay.
We have a death penalty case coming up here. 9 o'clock Friday night, Lawrence Colwell Jr. will be executed. There was a very interesting piece written by Brendan Riley of the AP in the newspaper yesterday. What are your feelings on the death penalty, Jason?
I'm a strong supporter of it. I think it has its weaknesses. I think in the last session we had the interim report that came to us to discuss changes, ways to improve it, ways to make it effective. But I think consistently Nevadans have shown their support for the death penalty. And personally, I believe if someone has given up their rights to be in a society, and they take that step that leads to the death penalty, we as a society owe it to the rest of society to take them out.
I'm a strong supporter of the death penalty, in that I think it does have some effect with respect to how people might address crime. But I also think that, as the district attorney yesterday on the show said, that people don't realize that the people that we're putting down are very, very bad people. They have done things that they're getting what they deserve. So, yes.
You know, in many ways, it's very biblical, an eye for an eye. I've always waffled on the death penalty. There are some people I really feel deserve the death penalty. On the other hand, the cost of keeping an evil person incarcerated is a terrible burden to the taxpayer. And if you look at the cost of incarceration in the state of Nevada and the kind of money that we spend on our prison system when it could be better spent, say, in education, I don't know. In one way I'm opposed to it, and in the other way I'm saying these are evil people, they've done terrible things, they have been judged by their peers, and if it's the death penalty, then so be it. Which will surprise a lot of my friends.
Yes, Martha just became a fiscal conservative. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this. It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Atlantis.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Coming up on tomorrow's show, John Marvel, Pam Dupre, and Dawn Gibbons. We'll see you on the next Nevada Newsmakers.